Having helped several clients through the midlife crisis and having worked through my own midlife crisis, I would probably not put the midlife crisis under the crisis bracket. I would put it under solving a mystery, unraveling a mystery, or actually discovering treasure. Why? Because a crisis is usually an intense, short-lived, easily identifiable and defining event, and it can easily be controlled, managed, or solved. However, the midlife crisis, far from being short-lived, actually goes through several periods or phases of our life. There's never one cause that pushes us towards the midlife crisis. It's all pervasive because it affects many areas of our life. We usually feel out of control, and no matter how much we change and make a difference, there are always more questions than solutions. The first is always apathy. I feel very blah about life. The second is I don't want to get out of bed because I don't know what I'm going to accomplish. It doesn't feel comfortable. I'm often thinking and overthinking and debating in my head, but I'm not able to take decisive action in any direction, something that I could do very well earlier. That everything feels very mundane, everything is very predictable, and still I don't want to do anything like setting new goals and reaching newer heights. These four collectively end up getting diagnosed as either depression or as anxiety. And it's very unfortunate because they don't really fall under the umbrella of mental illness. Having a purpose in life, something that drove me earlier in my life no longer drives me. I wanted to earn a lot of money, wealth was something that drove me. I no longer am motivated by that. And therefore, I'm looking for new ways to add value to the earth, and I'm looking for new ways to find meaning in life. I give up on all that is successful for me, and I actually break down whatever I've established. Another thing is drastic life changes. These drastic changes affect many areas of their life. Relationship issues, I've seen three major areas going through a change. One is the relationship with the intimate partner. I'm unable to relate to my intimate partner anymore. I'm no longer able to communicate. And so marriage becomes very strained. Sexual expression goes through a huge change as well in many people. I've seen people go through extramarital affairs as well. In addition to this, in the relationship avenue, I've seen people having serious conflicts with their adolescent children. Apart from this, people struggle through the empty nest, which is also part of the midlife crisis for some people, unfortunately. There is a huge redefinition of the circle of friends. Is that I start re-evaluating opportunities that I've lost, relationships that broke down. I'm looking for ways to make amends or go from the failures in my life and rebuild life. My body image related issues, which have plagued me all through my life, are suddenly things that I want to fix. So I'm going through cosmetic surgery in some cases. I'm going through extreme fitness routines or health regimens, changes in the way I'm eating, the way I'm relating to life, and so on. And some people also have something like a spiritual awakening where they sort of renounce the so-called material life and move towards spiritual practices. He says the first is usually the denial. So when the awakening or the rumblings, as I would call them, start, I start denying it. And usually the denial comes in the form of workaholism or overworking, being busy, not trying to listen to that inner voice. Second stage is anger. The anger comes because no matter what I do, the challenges remain and I'm not able to make any major difference. And the challenges seem to be increasing over a period of time. The third stage, according to Jim Conway, is replay. I look back at my life like a life review and I say, these things worked for me earlier, this worked for me when I was much younger, so let's try this again. You notice a lot of people are known to, sort of color their hair or change the way they appear and things like that, because they somehow feel if I appear youthful, I might be more productive or I may be able to handle these uncomfortable emotions within me. It's not the clinical depression, but a depression-like state where I feel completely useless because nothing is working. I start withdrawing, which is the fifth state. I move away from people. I move into a hermit-like space and I try to work through. I've always looked at that stage as something like, when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, because it's trying to grow wings. And at that point, this withdrawal or this solitude is extremely important. Come out of the withdrawal with a deep-seated acceptance, and I'm able to lead life with fresh eyes. In the many years that I've spent as a therapist helping people through the midlife crisis, I've noticed that the midlife crisis brings with it several opportunities. The first opportunity is that of self-love. As children, we're all driven by the fear of abandonment. We feel that if we work in a certain way where we are useful to our parents, we won't be abandoned. As irrational as that fear is, our entire esteem system is built around this. So for example, a child who always achieved well and was recognized by the parents for the achievement feels that achievement is the only way to feel useful in the family, and as adults they become overachievers who keep pushing themselves to the next goal and the next goal, and they burn themselves out. And the midlife crisis usually helps them look back at the fact that achievement need not be self-love. The second opportunity the midlife crisis brings is to rediscover wholeness. We may have had childhood experiences that made us experience a lack and an emptiness, and we fill that all our life. Now, example would be I grew up in poverty or with very few luxuries, and therefore in the initial years I spent a lot of time creating wealth to be able to fill that lack. After a point, I realized that that wealth no longer can fill that emptiness. This is the point where the midlife crisis helps me to discover that nothing external can fill the lack that is so internal. Finding the wholeness is the way to fill that lack. The third opportunity that the midlife unraveling brings into my life is to help me reach my highest potential. Knowing that all of us bring gifts to the earth and finding ways to express those gifts and add value to the earth is something that the midlife unraveling brings into our life. The midlife crisis also gives me an opportunity to undo patterns that no longer serve me. All through my life I was this people pleaser, and I suddenly have this opportunity during the midlife crisis to set boundaries and say no. A very important aspect of the midlife unraveling is to help me become more mindful, aware and peaceful in life. I've designed the 10 Ds that I share with clients, and I'm sharing it with you because I think it will help you. What are the 5 Ds that don't work? The first is of course denial. Denial in my life during the midlife crisis especially becomes a distraction. I start clinging to some kind of addictive behavior. It could be social media, it could be substance abuse, it could be travel, it could be amassing wealth, it could be workaholism. Any kind of denial pushes me away from the unraveling process. The second D is diagnosis, where I push myself to have a medical diagnosis and start medicating myself. By this I don't mean people who have underlying mental health issues. People who have underlying mental health issues do need treatment, do need to go in for medication and therapy. But the midlife unraveling need not be something medicated and silenced. We need to actually lean into the discomfort and work through it. The third D that doesn't work is dream. I've seen a lot of my clients build a dream world in the future, calling it powers of manifestation, etc., 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 very prematurely, not using the right principles, but more something to align themselves with reducing the discomfort and the control they want to have of the future. So they believe this rosy picture of the future, and they have a disconnect from reality, disconnect from the present moment where they can actually do something. Dodge, where they build a false narrative. I've known people who built complete lies around their business doing extremely well when it was actually failing, who keep having titles and awards added to themselves just to try and ensure that the uncertainty and the discomfort that's coming is somehow suppressed by this external titles or rewards or validation that comes in. This dodging or this false narrative pushes people away from finding their highest potential. I'd rather stick with something in the past than face the current anxiety and see where it's leading me to find my highest potential. The fifth D that doesn't work, and I call it DK, is people who actually go inwards in a very negative way and stagnate there. They limit themselves from growing through the experience. They start directing this discomfort towards a spouse or a child who has somehow failed them. So these are the 5 Ds that stunt us in the process and keep us stuck in the crisis situation without moving ahead. The first is dig deeper. Always, the midlife unraveling is an internal process. There's nothing external that can change it. And therefore, you need to go inwards into introspection, into reflection, not rumination or overthinking and getting stuck in thought loops, but actually directing thoughts towards what this discomfort is. In fact, in Taoism, there is a beautiful saying, the only way to is through. And therefore, we need to go through the discomfort and not away from the discomfort. The second D is discover. Find hidden skills, interests, gifts, and potential. The third is to find a drive. Find what motivates you from within. So it could be a deep sense of satisfaction, it could be generosity, it could be kindness, it could be compassion, and not necessarily external things like validation, awards, wealth, and so on. The fourth D is direct. Direct your energy and efforts towards a moderation and the process, not the results alone. In the earlier years, results were okay, but now when we reach our authentic best selves, it may be important to stay in the present moment and to stay in the process. The fifth D is to develop, to understand that when we lean into the discomfort that we are feeling, we actually can grow through this. The metaphor that I can use here is almost like how a seed explodes and from that life emerges. Development through the midlife unraveling process usually is being able to sit with the discomfort, with the emotions that are coming through and working through them. I've shared with you, though very intense in terms of content, is something that helps you in your reflective journey. In a world where we are becoming increasingly reliant on quick fix life coaching advice and affirmations, I felt that something that gives you several directions for understanding would help you in your inward journey. The inward journey is a lifelong process. It's not something where we fix and then move on and never look back. It's in fact something that we will revisit every day of our lives. As we keep revisiting beautiful aspects of ourselves, coming into our wholeness, finding our highest potential, and working through the discomfort becomes one of the most precious experiences we will have as adults. The midlife unraveling process is actually an opportunity to get in touch with our core, with our authentic self, and to bring forward the best gifts that we can bring to the earth. I hope this was useful for you.